Over the 6 years of Pokemon Go's lifespan, the game has been updated and updated, but there's still a couple things missing. So in today's video, we'll be going through 6 features that Pokemon Go should add to the game, and unlike the regular features like ready up buttons, we're gonna be talking about some that are a little bit less discussed. Without further ado, let's get into the first one, which is gonna be a Battle Pass. Now the Battle Pass is something that has been in many different video games in the past recent years. Games like Fortnite, I believe Clash of Clans, even Call of Duty has a Battle Pass. If you don't know what a Battle Pass is, you pay a certain fee to get access to a long list of usually 100 tiers of Battle Pass rewards. You'll then go ahead and collect XP or complete different challenges and tasks to complete this and get all the rewards that you pretty much bought. Pokemon Go kind of has something similar to this with different researches that you can go ahead and buy, but they're nowhere near as intuitive as a real Battle Pass. So it'd be amazing if Pokemon Go, maybe at the start of every single season, could drop like a 100 tier Battle Pass for trainers to complete over the season. Obviously, we won't want to make this easy either, so make sure the tasks are hard so we really have a lot of content to grind throughout the season. We did see this once during the season of Heritage, I do believe, with the one little Battle Pass there, but it was not that long of a pass. So I would love to see a Battle Pass be included. Rewards could even be things like Pokecoins from the Battle Pass, so having other ways to grind Pokecoins would be an amazing addition as well. Overall, this is one of the easiest content updates Pokemon Go can do for the longevity of the game, and we would love to see it. In the number 2 slot, we're going to be talking about a new battle stadium or a new UI for battling. Actually gonna give a huge credit here to Doms, who've done a mock-up of the potential of Pokemon Go PvP and what it could look like. Here we can see a shiny Altaria going up against Sparks Plusle on a completely new stadium with people around them. Right now, battling in PvP, battling in gyms, it's been the same for the longest time, and although gyms got a little bit of an update once, the PvP aspect of Pokemon Go has never been changed. So I would love to see some sort of update depending on where you're battling, or if you're battling in a regional tournament, there could be an exclusive background. Overall, I think PvP needs a little bit more love and would love to see more battlefield themes. You could, even see some Super Smash Bros. Battlefields where the battlefield is changing and it's moving, and that's a little bit crazy, but would just love to see an update to that. That moves us on into our 3rd slot, which is going to be talking about fashion. Pokemon Go is known for a lot of things, but character customization is not one of them. Pokemon Go has some of the least options for character customization, and you can't even change your hairstyle. So obviously, we would love to see more character customization being added to the game. But we can take this one step further and introduce fashion shows. Yes, in the main series Pokemon games, there has been things similar to these called contests. Contests where you could enter with your Pokemon and then dress up your Pokemon, and you'd have to do different challenges and you'd get a rating at the end. Contests have actually been leaked into Pokemon Go and may potentially be coming in the future, but I would love to see a fashion show. We've had so many costume Pokemon come to the game, and with a good update to the character customization, we could see fashion shows where trainers could choose a costume Pokemon to go alongside them and put on a fashion costume themselves and get it rated in some sort of way. I've actually done a whole series that we can link below and check out on rating different people's avatar outfits and doing our own sort of fashion show. But we would love to see this actually come into Pokemon Go, into the game, and people actually be able to do it. Overall, if there's one takeaway from this update, I just hope that they add more character customization into the game. That moves us on to the number 4 slot, I believe, and it's going to be a Daycare Center. Now, different people in their different videos about updates to Pokemon Go have talked about this feature before. A Daycare Center in which we could go ahead and breed Pokemon. If you don't in the main series games, you can usually leave one Pokemon and another Pokemon, and it'll make an egg, and then you can hatch that egg, and it'll hatch into whatever the female Pokemon was. Except if it's a Ditto, then it's automatically the other one. It's a thing. You can then go ahead and hatch that egg and get the Pokemon, and usually there'd also be sometimes an increased shiny rate on that egg if you use a special method. Obviously, would love to see breeding come to Pokemon Go, but the reason I want to see a Daycare Center is mainly because of another feature it comes with: training. When you leave a Pokemon in the Daycare Center, the more steps you take, the longer you play the game, the higher the level that Pokemon is when you come back to pick it up. And I think this would be an amazing feature in Pokemon Go. Imagine you can go ahead and leave a Pokemon into the Daycare Center on your street or whatever. If there's one at the gym, I'm not sure where they would put them, and then go ahead and walk 40 kilometers. When you come back to that Daycare Center, although you wouldn't have access to that Pokemon while it's at the Daycare Center, it would be powered up a couple levels. This would be an amazing way for people to power up Pokemon that are a lot harder to power up through the use of movement and activity. Niantic wants us to get outside, so why not let me put my Zarude, go walk 50 kilometers and power it up 3 or 4 or 5 levels. This would add so much more accessibility to the game and also would promote people to go outside and walk and keep moving. We have something kind of similar to this in which the buddy walking system is supposed to be kind of like this, because when you walk a buddy, you get some candy and then you can power it up with the Stardust and stuff like that. But let's be honest, no one's walking 10 kilometers for one candy for a Zarude. So yeah, overall, I would love to see a Daycare Center come to Pokemon Go. That moves us on right into number 5, and it's going to be a controversial one, but held items. Now, I was gonna put abilities on this list, but we're gonna talk about held items because held items in the main series Pokemon games were items that you can give to your Pokemon that would give them special abilities and powers. With the amount of catching you're doing in Pokemon Go, I think it would be an amazing addition to add held items because they wouldn't be too complicated, and as complicated as adding abilities to Pokemon, they would still be a great addition. Specifically, we could just start by adding held items like raspberries, Pokeballs, and things that we already have in the game. For example, you catch a Mareep in the wild, and hey, that Mareep is holding a Pokeball. When you transfer it or when you take that item away, you get an extra Pokeball. But then over time, we could add different held items that add stat boosts to different Pokemon. Things like Miracle Seeds, Life Orbs, and other held items from the main series games all have their little gimmicks and additions. For example, when a Pokemon is holding a Miracle Seed, its grass type moves are gonna do a bit more damage. Not only would this help grass type Pokemon for raids and add all sorts of new battle mechanics, but also it would change up the whole PvP meta because you'd have to know what held items that Pokemon is using. I've heard the argument in which Pokemon Go doesn't want to be too complicated because then it's gonna scare away people, but I think held items, if they don't add too many of them, could be a great little addition that won't be too complicated, but it will add a little bit more zest into Pokemon Go. Abilities, on the other hand, which if you don't know are abilities that every single Pokemon has, giving them special powers, would probably get a little bit too complicated because it's kind of hard to limit what abilities could be in the game because then some Pokemon wouldn't have it, and would probably just scare people away and make Pokemon Go too complicated. But held items, I'd love to see. And that moves us on into our final and number 6 feature that I think Pokemon Go should add. It's going to be a campaign feature. Pokemon Go, unfortunately, doesn't have any sort of story. There's a couple special research stories that you can go ahead and complete, but they're pretty easy to complete and you don't really even have to follow the story. But I would love to see some sort of campaign for every player when they start the game to lead them through the different challenges of Pokemon Go. This could include battling in things like gyms, which you already have, but I would love to see some sort of AI gym leaders that you have to go ahead and beat, like in the main series games. And also that could all lead up to, of course, an Elite Four and a champion, which you can go ahead and fight down once you have your Pokemon powered up or you have gone to a high enough level. Pokemon Go really just lacks that story, and it is a good thing because it makes the game timeless in which you can pick it up at any time. But I would love to see just a little simple story that leads people through the different gyms and the core of Pokemon, because every Pokemon game has always had a gyms and Elite Four, and would love to see some sort of campaign mode. Obviously, we have gyms where we can go ahead and battle other trainers and stuff like that, but I would just love to see some more constructed story in Pokemon Go. Nonetheless, let me know what you guys think of all my features that I think should come to Pokemon Go. Some of these obviously will never make their way, but some of them might make their way into Pokemon Go. Also, feel free to comment below what other feature you would love to see in the game. We'll see you all in the next one. Forward to everybody. Peace.